All right. Well, thank you for joining us. We still have a couple people coming into the Zoom room, but this is our first National Food Security and Innovation Hub Student Data Challenge, and this will be the first of 3 in the next year. So welcome. And this is hosted as a hybrid event. We have those students and participants joining online, as well as several universities across the NAFSI hub. So today we will go ahead and give a NAFSI hub overview. You will meet the team behind this current student data challenge, including 2 food security track challenges, a little bit about the national data platform that serves as the foundation for this challenge. And then you'll meet 2 of the teams, learn about their solutions and why you are working on the challenges that you are, including Crop Smart from George Mason University and NourishNet from the University of Maryland. Then you'll be presented with your timeline over an exciting weekend where you will turn in your deliverables on Monday and go over the next steps to when you hear who wins the final food security challenges. So we are the NAFSI Hub. We are funded by the Directorate of Technology, Innovation, and Partnership from the National Science Foundation. And over the past 3 years, we've been working on innovative solutions for food security throughout the value chain. We have 7 different teams. And first we have Crop Smart that you'll learn more about today, again, led from George Mason University, SenseD from the University of Missouri, Darren Nutrisols from Boise State, AquaStudy from Pratt University, Nourish from the University of California, San Francisco, NourishNet from the University of Maryland. Again, you'll have a challenge from them today, and Cultivate IQ from the University of Arkansas. If you'd like to learn more about their specific challenges and solutions that they have developed over the past 3 years, go ahead and go onto our webpage to learn more. But together, we accelerate innovation, foster cross-sector collaboration, and empower researchers, industry, policymakers, and communities with cross-cutting edge data, tools, and insights to create resilient and sustainable food systems. Again, for the foundation of this challenge, we've closely partnered with the National Data Platform, and you'll meet some of the core institute investigators that we are collaborating with today. We are trying to bring together multiple high-impact data sets that we've used in our solutions and make them accessible for industry, academia, and communities. A lot of work goes into collecting data, and we want ethical use of open data as much as we can and make use of industry data that might be sensitive in nature to really accelerate innovation for all of our food security and our future. And so by standardizing and centralizing these data assets, at NAFSI, we envision seamless integration of these data sets into solutions to improve the food security landscape. And now you'll meet the team that will be talking about the kickoff event and what you'll be doing over the next weekend. We have myself, Kate Trout, the director of the NAFSI Hub, Grace Crow, serving as the coordinator from the University of Missouri, Melissa Floca from the University of California, San Diego, and Pedro Ramanetti from the University of California, San Diego, both in the Core Institute. Then joining us today to describe you about one of the challenges is Chen Xiang from Crop Smart, Stephanie Lansing from NourishNet, and then also offering support online that will be fielding your question is Mitesh Rajrohit, also our One Health data manager, and helping out with the NAFSI Hub. And I will hand it over to our colleague, Melissa Floca, to talk about all the cool things that she's done within the National Data Platform.
Thank you so much, Kate. Can you hear me okay online? Wonderful. So we're so happy to welcome everyone here today for the data challenge. For these data challenges, you'll be using the National Data Platform ecosystem, which is what's kind of under the hood of the NAFSI Hub that you all will be working on. And this is a great tool for you all as students because you can continue to use it beyond just this weekend's data challenge. You can If you're working on things with the NAFSI Hub, you can do that there. If you're working on things outside of the NAFSI Hub ecosystem, you can work on the National Data Platform itself. And what this does is it gives you access to the Kubernetes cluster for your computing needs that you can use beyond just the data challenge today. And so this platform has been developed to make it much easier to find data, to share data, to be able to launch your work to the appropriate computing resources with as little pain and effort as possible, and then to work on building workflows that are reproducible so that you can share your work with others, you can collaborate with others more easily, and you can really think about how to build the most reproducible work possible. And we're very excited to have you all use this infrastructure and to be able to support the NAFSI Hub with this infrastructure. And our team is, here a bit over the weekend to provide support, but beyond this weekend, definitely available to you in your work as students and researchers. So thank you for the partnership and the opportunity to work with this really transformational effort. I have one more slide here, which I'll just quickly touch on the National Data Platform. It has a broad range of partners. It is funded by the National Science Foundation, and it is built to be useful and usable by teams like NAFSI who want to make sure that people get to really focus on their work, focus on the innovation and AI-enabled science that they're doing, rather than struggle with figuring out the right computing environments and infrastructure for their work. So we're excited to be able to work with you all on this here. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. We are going to now turn it over to Chen to introduce you to your first track challenge.
Hi, how is my voice?
Yeah,
It's good?
you're good.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, thanks for having me today. And hello, everyone. My name is Chen Zhang with the Crop Smart team. And the Crop Smart project is led by George Mason University and collaborate with Purdue University, NCAR, Kansas State University, University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and Mississippi State University. And basically, CropSmart is a user-inspired digital twin system to provide cropping decision-making services for the entire United States, powered by a variety of agro-information data and state-of-the-art AI and machine learning models and simulations. And in the NSF Convergence Accelerator program, our team has produced a promotion video to introduce the idea, the product, and the applications of our project. So can you play the video, please? Yeah.
I'm Nolan Sampson. I'm a farmer from Northwest Indiana. That's something that I developed a passion for at an early age. We grow commercial corn, soybeans, and seed corn as a specialty crop.
Agricultural producers have a wealth of data available to help them manage their farms. But end users don't necessarily have the ability to process all of that data into actionable information.
I think one thing that is missing from the technology that we use today is a system that brings it all together. So when app platforms don't talk to each other, or you have two different record-keeping services that won't connect in one spot, it can make it challenging.
You have to go to 50 different apps to get the whole story as to what's happening on the farm. I would say the single thing that people are looking for is projection data. I think that is so critical for a farmer.
The USDA's Agricultural Innovation Agenda calls for increasing crop production by 40%, while cutting our environmental footprint in half by 2050. Data-driven crop management decision-making is key to reaching this goal. CropSmart is targeted to meet this challenge. The software creates a digital twin an exact digital replica of a farmer's fields. CropSmart integrates and applies modern technologies to put real-time, accurate, and actionable information into end users and stakeholders' hands. The CropSmart project team has developed a prototype system based on user needs. Now, the goal is to provide the end user with 3 types of services. Decision-ready, data-driven information that the farmer can use in real time. A what-if platform to let users test the outcome of various scenarios. And decision advice to help farmers find the right solutions.
The information will provide at a field scale and national coverage. So this information not only be used by individual farmer, but also for the agribusiness and also federal, state, or local government.
We are going to deliver those technologies and data through mobile app as well as the web-based applications.
The plan for phase 2 is to move from a proof of concept and pilot to something that can be validated on the ground. And this is a key stage because agricultural producers are very reluctant to adopt technologies that are not proven technologies.
When a grower is given new tools, new projection data, the ability to really see forward and to see that bigger picture, that's going to be a next level game changer for our growers.
The things that we can do to improve our food production is to minimize the impact of that food production on the environment, which benefits everybody broadly. This kind of project will really have lots of return to consumers.
This project has the potential to affect agricultural producers across the country. And just the scale of that effect can actually make a difference for society.
To succeed in the farm market today, farmers need clarity in information, and having the tools that help you to make those decisions, I think, are what would make farming a lot more successful for a lot of people. Just being able to wade through the information that's out there and choose what's best for your farm.
CropSmart, making wiser cropping decisions now and into the future.
Yeah, thank you, Grace. Next page, please. Okay. As the U.S. agriculture now faces growing threats from the climate variability and shifting precipitation patterns, increased drought frequency, and many unpredictable variables in growing season, the informed decision making at both the field and policy level requires accurate, high resolution understanding of land use, vegetation dynamics, and the soil conditions. And to address these challenges, CropSmart provides the on-demand, science-based, and data-driven decision solutions optimized for the cropping goals of decision makers. So in this data challenge, we would like to ask you to explore how the CropSmart datasets can bring broader impact to the food and agricultural community. Next page, please. The NAFSI track one challenges aims to explore the power of operational geospatial datasets by our system to advance agricultural monitoring and resilience. So with a variety of agro-information data, such as the crop type maps, the vegetation index, and the soil moisture, we would like to see how you guys analyze the geospatial data products in different tasks. And using the statistical or AI machine learning technologies to build the predictive models that can support crop monitoring nationwide. Next one, please. Well, to be more specific, the participants will analyze and model the algorithm information using 3 types of operational data products in 4 tasks. And the primary goals of our data challenge are to characterize NDVI time series signature for the major crop types, detect and map the crop rotation patterns, and quantify anomalous soil moisture conditions, and develop the crop type mapping models. The next one, please. And there are 3 deliverables, including the Jupyter Notebook, the PDF report, and the GitHub repository. And the detailed information and the guidelines are covered in the data challenge brief. And yeah, I think that's all from me. And good luck, everyone, and have fun.
Thank you so much, Chen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we are going to turn it over to Pedro to give us a little bit of information about joining this challenge.
All right. Thank you very much, Grace, and thank you very much, Shen, for your intro to this challenge. So hello, Pedro Ramonetti from UCSD here. What I'm going to show you is the process on how you're going to register to the NAFSI Hub, the main platform where you will be doing all of your work, and also how you're going to set up the Jupyter Hub server, because we are providing an AWS-powered Jupyter Hub for you to complete your work. So you're going to be able to use the computing resources over there. And once you complete your work, I'm going to show you how to submit your final GitHub repository so the judges can evaluate. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen. I need permission to share my screen.
You should have permission now, but let me double check. I think you are ready.
I do have permission now. Thank you, Grace. Okay. Okay, can everyone see my screen? Almost?
Almost.
What do you mean almost?
There it goes.
Oh, okay. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So all participants will go to nafsihub.org. You will find a page like this. On the top right, you will locate this login register button. Then you're going to click on sign in with CI logon. And this is an important step. You're going to search for your university in this menu. In my case, I'm UC San Diego. I can just type UCSD. And you're going to click on remember this selection so you're not being asked the same question over and over again. Okay? So you're going to click on log on. And then you're going to log in using your typical university credentials. Okay? If this is your first time registering, you're going to get a message that you will receive a confirmation email to validate your account. Once you do that, your account will be good to go, and you will be directed to a page that will look like this again, but with your profile registered on the right. Okay? So after you register, you're going to click on this section, Data Challenges, at the top. And you will see the 2 data challenges that we have already published in the site, the CropSmart and NourishNet. If you're participating in CropSmart, you will go to CropSmart, you will review the information, and very importantly, before joining, you're going to see this link down on the challenge description. This link will point you to the brief with all the details of this challenge, the context, the overview, the data that we're providing for the challenge, and the specific tasks that you have to complete, as well as what is going to be the evaluation criteria, the questions that you have to answer as part of your final report, and how you're going to submit your work. Okay? So after reviewing that, you will click on Join Challenge. You will enter a team name. It can be whatever team name, just consider that the judges will be able to see that name. And please don't use any special characters in your team name. No @ symbol, no exclamation symbols, no special characters, just a plain team name. So if I call my team UCSD, I can then add myself to the team. Click on Join Challenge. Oh, I made a mistake. And it's good that I made that mistake because this is an important piece. If you try to add someone to your team who has not registered to the challenge, you're gonna get the error that you just saw. All your team members need to be registered in the platform so you are able to add them to your team. Okay? So I click on add challenge. And then if I want to add more team members, I can look for one of my partners, in this case, Melissa, also from UCSD. And now we have a team. Okay? Only one person needs to do this process for all the team members. Okay? But every team member needs to register in the platform. Okay, so after joining the challenge, you will see this module at the bottom. You're going to click on view and you're going to review the content. This is the template that will give you the instructions on how to set up the Jupyter Hub environment and how you're supposed to submit your work. The data sets that you will use for the challenge are also attached over here. And the base Jupyter notebook, it's added via this GitHub repository. So after reviewing the content of this module, you're going to click on Launch Options, followed by AWS Compute, and it will take you to a page that will look like this, okay? In this page, you will be able to start your server. You will select the number of CPU cores that you want to use for your project and the amount of memory. Take into consideration that you will have limits of 16 cores and 64 gigabytes of RAM for this exercise, okay? And you're going to select that you're gonna work on the Crop Smart data challenge at the top, okay? And after setting this up, after setting the resources, you will click on Start. It will take like 2 to 3 minutes to start, and you will be redirected to a page that will look like this, okay? This will be the Jupyter Hub. This is running on AWS. So once you are here, there is something important that I want you to notice. There is this extension on the left, which is what connects the resources that are part of the module with the Jupyter environment, with the Jupyter server. So you will click on current folder. In my case, I started my session as an individual, not as a team, not in the data challenge. I had started this before the webinar started. But you will locate two folders. One is going to say user persistent storage, and the other folder, which is not here, but it will be for your case, it's going to be a folder that will have your team's name. Okay? That folder is going to be a shared folder across all team members. Any file that you put inside that folder will be visible and editable by all team members. Okay? So imagine that this is my team folder. You're going to go inside your team folder. You're going to open it. Ignore this lost and found folder. Then you're going to get back to the extension via this NAFSI button. You're going to select the workspace, which in your case, it's going to be the submission template, over here. You're going to select the GitHub repository. In this case, it's going to be only one. And you're going to click on Clean on Current Folder. Clone into current folder, followed by clone. And this will place the clone repository inside the shared folder, okay? It is important that you do that because if you clone or put files outside the shared folder or your user persistent folder, files are lost after you stop your server, okay? Any file that you want to save across your sessions need to be in one of those two folders. Okay, so you're going to open the directory of the repository. You're going to see that there is a requirements file. This requirements file has the minimum requirements to run the base notebook, this one. And as you will see, this notebook is already populated with some code, with some instructions, and with your tasks. You're going to get back to the NAFSI extension over here, and you're going to click on this button which says Install Requirements. This takes about 10-15 seconds. And you will see a log file confirming that the libraries were installed, this pip install log, okay? So after that, the notebook will be good to start. And from there, it will be up to you to add your solution code. Okay, you will need to add all the necessary code to complete your task, the libraries. If you are adding extra libraries, you're gonna include those in the requirements file. And after you complete your work, you're gonna download your files, both the completed notebook and the requirements, and you're gonna put those in a GitHub repository. Okay, so imagine that this is my GitHub repository with my solution. This is a different repository, but imagine that this is my solution. Then I'm gonna copy it. I'm gonna get back to the template. I'm gonna click on edit in this section of workspace code base. I'm gonna paste. It's very important that the repository is public and what you are bringing is the Git URL. And now you will see at the bottom this message which says your workspace code base. Okay, this is what the judges will be reviewing. Okay, so a quick recap: you will sign in / register to the platform. You will join the data challenge. You will create a team with all your team members who have to be previously registered to the platform. You will review the submission template and the data challenge brief that is available on the first page of the CrossSmart challenge. You will start a server at the AWS Jupyter Hub. Inside the Jupyter Hub, you will move to the team storage and clone the repository with the template. You will work on your solution, edit the notebook, and edit the requirements file. After you complete, you will download your work, put it on a repo along with your final PDF report. And the details on what it has to be in that report are on the challenge brief. And after you finish all of your work, you will go to this corner, click on Hub Control Panel, and stop your server. When you're not working, stop your server, or if you need to reserve more resources, stop your server, and you can start again with a bigger allocation. Okay, so this is your process. If you have extra questions, we're gonna leave my email and the email for support. And we're also gonna provide these instructions again. And I think, if I'm not wrong, Grace, this recording will be made available, right? After we finish it. Okay.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
I want to add one point of clarification because I've seen that this is something that trips people up. Only your team lead needs to join the challenge.
Yeah.
So in each team, one person joins the challenge. And then they add the teammates.
Mhm.
So you should figure out who you're working with. That person should join the challenge. The lead of your team should join the challenge. And then you will have been registered to the platform. So your email will be recognized by the platform and they'll add your email to their team. So basically, you should register for the platform. Everybody individually should log in to the platform so that your email is in the system, but only your team lead should join the challenge. And then they should add the team members with their email. If you mess that up, it's okay. All that's going to happen is you're going to have multiple teams.
Yeah, and you're if you're already part of a team, you are not allowed to be added to a new team. So you will need to drop the challenge and then ask your team lead to add you. So yeah, thank you, Melissa, for bringing that up. Only the team lead creates the team, and he or she adds the rest of the team members. And that's it from my side for CropSmart.
Grace, you're on mute if you're...
So
I lost my mouse location for a second, but we are back. I'm going to start sharing again. Okay. So just to recap, if you're visual like me, here is a to-do list of what Pedro just went over for the next action items to get started with this challenge. And then if you have any questions, here is his email address as well. And then you can also make sure that you indicate which challenge you're reaching out about. So now I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to Stephanie Lansing, or I'll let her introduce her.
Yep.
Good. Thank you.
I think it's showing the room. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. I'm not sure why it's not tracking me. It's tracking
You just need to rotate it towards your side.
It's tracking me now? No. A little bit more. Oh, here we go. There we are. Now we can see me. All right. So I'm Stephanie Lansing. I lead the NourishNet team. NourishNet is a food recovery toolbox. We're here at the University of Maryland. And what NourishNet does is really provide the connections between producers, donors, distributors, and those experiencing food insecurity. The toolbox includes a variety of apps and sensors that we're using. We have a sensor called the Quantum Nose, which basically can see if we have food here and we want to know if it's donatable. I'm a grocery store and I don't know if the chicken can be donated. The sensor actually looks at gas emissions from the food to actually see if there is bacterial emissions, and it looks at the footprint of the type of food and what gas might be emitted to see if there's bacterial contamination. So this Quantum Nose helps us with the distribution, because when I am donating something, I can give it a value. I can give it a freshness value within the donation system. The donation system is called Food Loops, and it really optimizes this surplus distribution. So if you're someone who has food, it allows you in real time to see this food distribution. And one of the main things that we have that other kind of apps don't have is if I'm someone experiencing food insecurity, I actually go into the app and I can see what is the food that's available. Often, if you're experiencing food insecurity, you may be standing in line for an hour to wait for your food, for a box of food that maybe has food that is not what you're desiring. And so this allows direct input from those experiencing food insecurity, asking, do you have apples? You can get, is the wish list, and they'll show you other places that might have apples if that's what you want. And so it really provides direct input, and as well as food education videos and a lot of just knowledge about how to make the best use of the resources that you do have, recipes, etc., for those experiencing food insecurity. We also have a decision support tool as part of this app. And what this does is it helps institutions like the University of Maryland, a food pantry themselves, or a distribution center. What's the most sustainable part of that food? So if it's not spoiled, and I know from my sensor that it's not spoiled, then I want to figure out how can I get it to a food pantry? Where are the food pantries that are available? Do they have cold storage capacity? Are they available for pickup? How long, far away is it? If it is spoiled, maybe we can put it to a digester or composting unit. But how far away is that? Anything to not get it to the landfill. 33% of all landfill content is food. And so what can we do so that those food resources actually go back to growing more food from a digester or from composting? And so it really allows this decision support network to help restaurants, industries, universities understand the best use of their food. Again, as I said, we have a lot of educational videos with the practical skills to reduce wasted food in your own household, as well as those in institutions. Next slide. The video is going to be wonderful.
In the US, 34 million people are food insecure. And while we produce enough food to feed our population, 40% of the food that we produce is wasted.
Can you turn that up on your end, please? We're having a hard time hearing it.
40% of our landfill content is wasted food. Food insecurity, our interdisciplinary NourishNet team will systematically prevent and divert food waste. First, we will reduce the source of food waste by early spoilage detection using electronic sensors and consumer education. Secondly, we will focus on recovering and redistributing food to provide surplus food to those in need. And lastly, in cases where the food cannot be recovered, we will use composting and anaerobic digestion systems to convert this food into fertilizer and renewable bioenergy. Here are some details.
Our quantum material-based electronic nose, which we named Quantum Nose, can detect the spoilage rate and lifespan of perishable food. These sensors are built based on atomically thin quantum materials, which are extremely sensitive to influencing factors, including the gas molecules nearby. Based on such information, we can evaluate the lifespan and safety of consuming the food.
And here we will detail our Food Loops app that connects these groups together.
NourishNet connects donors, food pantries, local governments, and food insecure individuals. Let me show you an example of how it works. Say you're interested in tomatoes. The app will show you a map with the food pantries where you can acquire those tomatoes. If they don't carry them, you can also add them to a wish list and the food pantry will be notified. A donor carrying those tomatoes, they will be able to do a donation using the app with the electronic nose. The electronic nose will tell them the quality of the product, and then they'll be able to add that donation to NourishNet. The tomatoes will be then matched to a food pantry automatically based on the sensor information, but also on different food pantry characteristics. Once a volunteer is found to carry the tomatoes to the food pantry, the automatic donation will be in place. Food pantries through our platform will be able to check what donations they are receiving, what types of products their clients would like to see in the food pantries, and other types of statistics. The food insecure person that wanted the tomatoes will be notified through the app, and they can also sign up to other notifications from that and from other food pantries. Local governments will have access to census tract level information, for example, how many individuals are using food pantries or how much food has been saved.
A program like NourishNet would be essential to a small urban farm like us because it would provide that matchmaking support that we do not have the capacity for. It would also connect us to funding opportunities to support us to grow food for food pantries that serve our neighbors.
As someone that works with food assistance providers and food pantries, the clients have shared with us that they are unable to find foods that align with their cultures and their diets. Food Loops app, developed by NourishNet, is greatly needed to streamline our multiple requests to provide input and better serve our constituents and coordinate distribution and reporting into one single smart platform.
At NourishNet, our real-time feedback and outreach will improve our food distribution system and reduce food waste through new nutritious connections.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for showing that. So our problem statement. So why are we here for this data challenge? So the food systems information, what we want to kind of get all in there, what the food pantries are serving, where the food pantries are located, where all of these distribution systems might be. It's across many community websites. You might go to one county and they'll have some websites, or the food pantry itself will have information. It might be on a WhatsApp group. You know, it's very disparate. So it's spread out in ways that it's hard to access and use effectively. But much of this information is unstructured, it's inconsistent, it might not be frequently updated, which creates barriers for people trying to rely on it. At the same time, households, people who want to donate food, and volunteers who want to work in these food pantries, they each need different kinds of information. And so there's no clear single way to connect them to the right resources in terms of, you know, where to donate food, where can I help to volunteer, and then where can I get food. So the challenge is really trying to transform this fragmented online data into a reliable, accessible, and user-friendly tool that helps quickly access and act on the support that these different actors in this space might need. Next slide. So our food distribution events are essential for supporting these food insecure households, but these coordination, again, as we said, is fragmented among community groups and maybe a church, a nonprofit, a faith-based organization, the local organization. So in these challenge, the idea is to these creates these key challenges, the scattered information across many channels, limited clarity for the donors who want to give food, but they don't really know how or where, especially if you're a restaurant. Let's say at the end of the day, you have just a little bit of food. Do I do something with it or do I just throw it away? Or you might be a huge Trader Joe's restaurant that may have more infrastructure. So what that person may need for understanding donation is different. Low visibility for volunteers. If you want to help, how can you do that consistently? What is training might you need? What is the information you need for doing this? The amount of time you might need to be there. And then if I'm a food insecure individuals, how do I really know this information is accurate? And so again, there's poor alignment between these event locations and the communities that need it. So the idea is to use AI-driven tools to unify information, improve coordination, and help resources reach the right community. Next one. So the idea is to build a user-friendly tool. There's different tools that you can use for this fragmented information about food assistance into an accessible resources. So families finding food distribution events, donors identifying organizations that match their interests and needs, and then volunteers finding out where the support is needed most. So using the Kira platform, which we'll go through, teams will develop a working application that ingests this unstructured web data and presents it clearly and accessibly for these different actors. So advanced feature, this is encouraged to use open data sets such as census, poverty, transportation, geospatial data to improve recommendations and identify underserved areas. Technical requirements, we must use open source tools. No AWS services beyond Kiro may be used. And again, any other additional public available sources you can use, okay? Then the data provided, we have a CS file with dozens of websites offering options for food banks events. This is just one example of things you can use. You can go beyond that data set. Next slide. So the deliverables, so this is what we'll be getting on Monday, is a markdown file containing your final prompt, your prompt pipeline, and then the judges will basically look through and they'll go directly into Kira to identify that it reliably reproduces the information in your reported tools. A PDF structured report that describes your tool in detail, the core features, the intended use, how the tool works, covering its integration data, architecture and interface, and then motivate how the tool supports all of these different actors we talked about and engages with these programs. The idea is that the PDF report should be written not by AI, but by you. And then the GitHub repository. So this is containing all the above information organized and documented for reproducibility, including the markdown file, the PDF report, the code, and then a README with instructions so that the judges can actually be able to run your tool independently. And that's it. Next slide. Okay, that's up to you guys.
Okay, so I guess that this is my turn to take the mic again. And we're gonna now, are you saying something, Grace?
Nope, sorry. You are ready to go. I'm stopping right now.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so now the process to start working in this challenge is gonna be slightly different because here we're not gonna be using Jupyter Hub. As Stephanie mentioned, we're gonna be using Kiro, which is an agent for vibe coding, and we're gonna grant you access to that tool. And this is the way in which we are going to give you that access. So again, assuming that you have already registered and that you have found the NourishNet data challenge on the NAFSI hub, first, the same way with CropSmart, at the bottom you will see the challenge brief. So what it's written here are the details on, it's the information that Stephanie just shared with a little bit more of detail. And these are the deliverables that you have to present, as well as what is going to be the evaluation criteria. Okay, so please review this in detail because this is going to be the base for evaluating your work. And after you review that, you will click again on Join Challenge. Again, I'm going to join in as the UCSD team. At ucsd.edu. Remember, only the team lead needs to start this, and then they can click on Edit and add the rest of the team members. Okay, so this is what is going to happen. After you join, you're gonna leave a space of a few minutes because once you join a challenge, we will be able to identify the accounts of the participants, okay? And Siddharth Trivedi, also from UCSD, who is in the call right now, is going to be helping us with that process. Is going to be taking those accounts and adding you to the AWS group to which in which we're going to be granting you that access, okay? So after you register and after maybe a couple of minutes, you should get an email inviting you to create an AWS account, okay? Sid, can you confirm if you have sent it already to my account?
Yeah, you should have received that.
Okay, so here it is. This is the invitation, okay? So the invitation is gonna look like this, okay? You're gonna click on accept invitation. This is gonna take you to a place to create a password. So I'm doing that right now. Okay, set the new password. Okay, now I successfully created my account. I'm gonna choose a username. In my case, I can just use the same my same email username. Okay.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to use the username that you get in the email.
Thank you for letting me know that.
And for this case, I'm gonna keep for everyone, the username is gonna be their email ID that they.
Thank you for clarifying that. Okay. So no, that's not me. Thank you for letting me know that. Okay, so my email, my password, sign in. Oops. Typed it wrong. Okay, now I'm in. Okay, so here you need to set up an authenticator. For those who have Macs, it's gonna be easier because you can use the biometrics. For those who don't have a Mac, you need to have an authenticator in your cell phone so you can add an authentication login mechanism to your account. Okay, so you can link your account. So in my case, I'm gonna choose an authenticator app. And I invite you to start to download that before you join the challenge. So let me add my authentication to my application. It's taking a second, sorry. Okay, so I'm gonna take the QR code and I'll authenticate my account. And I need to provide the authentication code that the app is giving me. In this case, it's gonna be 174 to 743. Okay, there it is. Okay, and my account is now ready to go. Okay, so at this point, I received the invitation, I created my password, and I added an authenticator to my account. Remember that your username is gonna be your email, and you're gonna be directed to this portal. Okay. Under applications, you must see Kiro. Okay. If you don't see Kiro, it's because we haven't added your account yet to the premium account. So give it a couple of minutes to receive that application. Refresh your page. If after 15 minutes you don't see this, let us know. But you should see this like relatively quickly. Okay. Now, you are going to download on the Kiro website, Kiro.dev, you're going to download the desktop application to your computer, and I'm not going to cover that. Assuming that you have already downloaded your application, you're going to see a page like this on the Kiro desktop app. You're going to click on sign in, and this is going to redirect you to your browser. In the browser, you will select your organization, followed by sign in via IAM Identity Center, okay? And you're gonna keep these credentials that can also be found on the invitation that you get, okay? Here at the bottom, you will see the access portal URL. That's what you're gonna paste here, and you're gonna select US East 1 as the region. And we're gonna provide that information. It's also gonna be available on the submission template of the NourishNet Data Challenge. Okay. If you like forget or like are unable to identify this via email, if you go to the module, the submission module, those credentials are posted over here. Okay. So you're gonna click on continue. And that should, oh, I made an error. So I need the identity center. Is it the same or I had an old one? I think it's the same. Yeah. Okay. Allow access. Yep. Okay. And now I'm good to go. Okay. After pasting the right identity center and the US1 region, now I'm going to be redirected to Kiro, which will look like VS Code or other IDEs, and you will be ready to start by coding. Okay. Now, using Kiro, you're going to create your project, and how do we want your submission to look like? If you go to the submission template, you're gonna find two examples. Okay, so I'm gonna open this one, and as you will see, this repository has all the code that the person who developed this used. It has this markdown with all the details of the repository, how to run the application, how the repository is structured, and it also has the final report. Okay, this is a mock report, but we want your actual report also on the same repository. And in the same way that I explained on the previous data challenge, once you complete your work and once you have your repository ready, you're gonna click on Workspace Codebase and you're gonna add it over here, add from external link, and that's what the judges are going to review. And also very important, forgot to mention this. You must also host your application via GitHub pages, okay? And how this is gonna look like, if you click here on example 2 on the additional resources section, this is how the page looks like for the second example that I show you, okay? This is how you're going to host your application. There is another example over here. So we're looking for your creativity. We're looking for how innovative you are with your approach, and we're looking to see your pages hosted and your public repositories through the submission template. Okay, and very important, something that I forgot to mention in the previous one, and the previous data challenge: do not make any pushes after the deadline. If you push anything to your submission repository after the deadline, you're disqualified. Okay? So that's it. That's gonna be the process. I'm gonna if you need to remember what were the steps corresponding to the Kiro invitation, those are also written over here in the submission template for NourishNet. Have any additional questions, also feel free to reach, and we are going to be giving you support. Also, final note, you must register to the data challenge before 7 p.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time, okay? It will be until that hour in which we're going to be bringing support and adding people to Kiro. If you add someone to your team after that deadline, 7 p.m. Central or 5 p.m. Pacific, they can be on the challenge, but we won't be able to grant them Kiro access. Anything you want to add, Melissa? Oh. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and just a quick note. As you saw, I made an error when I was doing the launch. I'm gonna update this URL in a second. Okay. And give it a minute, and this URL will be updated on the submission workspace. And that's it.
Thank you so much, Pedro. Okay. So again, recapping, I think we're good to go. Give me 1 second. Got it. Okay. We're going. So again, here is Pedro's information. If you do reach out, please mention which of the 2 challenges you are reaching out about. This is your to-do list for track 2 of this challenge. So this is what Pedro covered at the end. These are the steps that you're going to need to take to complete this challenge. I'm going to go on and talk about our general challenge timeline. So both tracks are running on the same timeline here. We did have our data challenge informational webinar. If in the future you would like to go back and review the NDP onboarding challenge, that is helpful for understanding the format of these challenges. But at this point, you are ready to register on our nafsihub.org page. So this is where you will be registering. That opens today, right now. You are free to go in and start registering as long as Pedro can get a second to update that one minor detail. So you can feel free to go ahead and get logged into nafsihub.org. The next 2 days, Saturday and Sunday over this weekend, are your times to complete the challenge. You should try to get as much of the challenge done over the weekend as possible because the final solution will be due at end of day, 2 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Mountain time, 4 p.m. Central time, and 5 p.m. Eastern time on Monday. On that day, there will be some troubleshooting available, so we really encourage you to get everything that you need done over the weekend so that we do not overwhelm our troubleshooting experts. And then the fun part, in May, we will be ending the winners after our judgment period is completed. So again, as I mentioned, troubleshooting will be available during the day of submission at a certain capacity. So please submit any issues that you have as they come up. And we also want to note that we will be running all of the codes ahead of time before it moves on to judging. We have a special judge, Mitesh, will be helping us run all of that code to ensure that it's replicable. So all of that, make sure that it's able to run before you submit. Final deliverables will be set against the criteria that was provided to you in the NAFSI data challenge. It's available now for you to review that criteria. Again, that final solution deadline, 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., and 5 p.m. in the respective time zones. And most fun, there is a $2,000 prize for the winning teams. So make sure you get your solutions turned in and pay special attention to all of those small details and rules. Okay, your next steps. You're ready to go. You're ready to go at nafsihub.org. At this point, you're going to, as Melissa emphasized, you will set up an individual profile on nafsihub.org. And then one person from your team, a team lead, will create your team and then add your other teammates. For track 2, please pay attention. You must register your team today in order to get Hero access. We are only going to be giving out that Hero access until 5 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Mountain time, 7 p.m. Central time, and 8 p.m. Eastern time. That is approximately 2 hours after the conclusion of this webinar. Next, be free. You are going to be able to create your solution after that. Work with your team over the weekend and please reach out. On Monday, make sure you submit your solution promptly and do not make edits after you've submitted that solution. Please reach out to me if you have any questions just generally about the student data challenge, and then for specific questions, you can also reach out to Pedro. That is it. We will open the floor to questions and troubleshooting, especially if you need help getting into Kiro. We can go ahead and take a peek at the chat. This is a QR code for where you can get to registration and get all signed up.
Yeah, we also have the links to register in our chat now. And Grace, we have a question asking if we can't join now, when will the next challenge be? Do we have a timeline for that yet?
It'll be in the fall. So we will have more information about that exact time frame shortly.
And I see Pedro has answered this, but then for a wider audience, do we have to compete in teams of 3 to 5, or can we compete individually?
Yes, you do need to be in a team. We have a 3 to 5 range for teams.
Those are all the questions on chat. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, ready, set, go. We are ready to get your solutions and excited to hear from you all. This should be a very exciting inaugural challenge, and we'll learn a lot. Thank you.